With the launch of Beyond Light, sunsetting began to take effect. While technically it was introduced the season before, nothing was actually being sunset at the time. So Beyond Light was the first implementation of sunsetting to actually affect the game. Obviously, sunsetting has caused a lot of drama in the Destiny community, and generally I would say that most people dislike sunsetting. Or, I should say, the current implementation of sunsetting, because that seems to always be the scapegoat that those who were asking for sunsetting fall back on, in order to defend this terrible idea. This is Bungie's vision of sunsetting. This is how it's supposed to be working. Not anything else. This is it, people. This is what they said was going to happen, and this is what happened. Remember back when Bungie first announced that sunsetting was going to be a thing? Well, if you don't, let me refresh your memory. What seemed like to me, there was a majority of the community that was praising Bungie for finally doing something about meta, and how people would stop using poor old Mountaintop and Recluse. Then also, let me remind you that a minority of the community was trying to explain to people how sunsetting would be a problem. But all of those opinions got drowned out by people just assuming Bungie was going to be able to keep up with whatever idealistic design each person had in their head of how sunsetting was going to work. Now I know I've already made a video about how sunsetting either leads to more power creep or a stagnation of your loadouts, but I just felt like making this to bring to light a few questions that I had. First off, the worst offender. When Bungie said that sunsetting would only affect the endgame, that was a flat out lie. Quote, "Those values will project the weapon's viable in-game lifespan, and we think that lifespan is somewhere between 9 and 15 months, end quote. Yes, so in Bungie's eyes, the planet Europa is in-game. Basic Lost Sectors are in-game. Gambit is in-game. Nightmare Hunts are in-game. Whole lot of in-game with this expansion, Bungie. Now don't sit there and try to tell me a planet, which mind you is technically available for free to play, is in-game content. Then especially don't tell me that the Lost Sectors on said planet are in-game. I'm not even talking about the legendary Lost Sectors. I'm literally just talking about the basic I stumbled into this cave Lost Sector."
So that was a fucking lie.
Then good old boy Luke goes on to compare Destiny to Magic the Gathering for some reason. Quote, "In Destiny 2 with Infusion, it's like having every card you own in Magic available and playable in all formats forever. It passively creates power creep, which also means our teams need to spend more and more of their time retesting and supporting old stuff instead of making new stuff. It reduces player desire for new items, and it means we ultimately create a ton of gear that doesn't have any value beyond ticking the box on the I got it checklist. That isn't value, it's actually the opposite of value, because it's work that we could be putting into making new stuff or improving old stuff." End quote. So what I say to this is that Luke is admitting that they make things that are useless and things that they know are going to be useless. Please explain to me how the fuck this is any different from now. Season of the Hunt weapons fall into the useless category, but at least they only spent time to make 4 useless weapons instead of 1 for each weapon type. Then they go and decide to make half of the Season of the Hunt weapons heavy weapons, where one of them is a fucking linear fusion rifle, the epitome of uselessness. Half of the Warden title and one of the major selling points of the Season of the Hunt is to fill a checklist. What are you talking about, Luke? Where are all the weapons that are shitting on other weapons? You know what I'm talking about, with that tweet that's making its rounds with the community. These are all just checklist items. Nothing has changed. The final thing I would like to say is this. Ask yourself, what weapons in Destiny 2 could not have existed without sunsetting? Not the Deepstone Crypt weapons. Those have new perks. That's what makes them stand out. Not the Season of the Hunt weapons. Those are just bog standard weapons. I've yet to see anything in the game that would have required sunsetting to exist to let certain weapons exist in Destiny. There's just nothing like that right now. If there is anything, it's exotics, it's lament. It's things that currently are not sunset. And don't you worry, in the future they're coming for your exotics eventually. It's not the fact that Bungie implemented sunsetting, it's their game, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. It's the fact that they boldfaced lied about it all. Sunsetting was never intended for balance or stopping power creep or anything other than inflating their player numbers, which if we look at Steam charts, which includes all of the D2 PC player base, will show... Wait, what? How can this be? Droves of players have stopped playing the game? What? They removed our weapons? They removed half the game? Why would people stop playing? That's so weird. Who would have known?